Hey YouTube, it's ICU, and today I'm going to show you guys how to jailbreak iOS 8 through 8.1 completely untethered on all iDevices. I'm also going to show you how to install Cydia after the fact, clear up some issues related to Pangu, and kind of walk you guys through the procedure to fully jailbreak untethered without encountering any issues. Alright, and to preface, there's actually a lot I need to get out of the way, but first, one of the main reasons that prompted me to create this video was the fact that the Pangu team updated Pangu. They actually updated it through the Pangu app itself that you get once you're jailbroken, so if you've already jailbroken iOS 8 through 8.1, just be sure to click on the annotation that's down below at the bottom of this video to fast forward to that segment of this video. Again, if you've already jailbroken, you don't need to re-jailbreak. I'll detail the steps to update Pangu later, and it does make things much more stable. Now, also really quick before we begin, I wanted to say that I'm creating this video to provide you guys one unified space to do everything from jailbreaking successfully using the latest version of Pangu to installing Cydia on either Windows or Mac OS X. So it is similar to my previous two tutorials, however, they are merged to one in this video. It's simplified, and this process is slightly different, and it will ensure that you don't encounter any issues or any complications when jailbreaking, and that you can jailbreak your device successfully. Now, I also wanted to say that this jailbreak does function on every iOS 8 firmware, including 8.0, 8.0.1, and if you're on that dreaded firmware, which is plagued by bugs, please update to the latest firmware, 8.0.2, as well as the latest public firmware at the time of recording this video, again being 8.1. It also does include support for the iPhone 6, iPhone 6 Plus, iPhone 5S, iPhone 5C, iPhone 5, iPhone 4S, the new iPad Air 2 and iPad Mini 3, the original iPad Air, the iPad Mini 2 with Retina display, the original iPad Mini, as well as the 4th generation iPad, the 3rd generation iPad, the iPad 2, and the 5th generation iPod Touch, which is what I'm going to be using to demonstrate with in this tutorial. Now, I'm really quick going to open up the Settings app, go inside of General, About, and down below at the bottom, you will notice that it does say for the version, this iPod Touch is indeed running iOS 8.1. As you can see, the version, it says 8.1 at the bottom there. So let's go ahead and refocus here. And with that out of the way, you're going to need to download 4 things on a Windows-based PC. Now, because I have a Mac, I actually installed Windows on a separate partition on my Mac using Boot Camp Assistant. It's extremely simple to do. You can also install it in a virtual environment using any number of programs on Mac. If you're not familiar with the process of partitioning and getting Windows set up, however, or creating a virtual machine, then just be sure to look online. There's so many tutorials, or try to borrow a friend's computer until Pangu releases a native Mac version of their utility. They said it's going to be some time, so if you have yet to jailbreak and you're interested, just be sure to do so now by either installing Windows on your Mac or again, borrowing a PC. Now, as far as the 4 things you'll need to download are concerned, first and foremost, we need the latest version of iTunes. So if you don't have it, or you're not sure you're on the latest version and you're on a PC, again, navigate to iTunes.com, download the latest iteration of iTunes. From there, you'll also need the Pangu jailbreak utility, and then once we're jailbroken, you'll need a program to SSH into your iDevice. And you can actually do this portion of it on Mac OS X. However, I'm going to show you guys how to do it on Windows. It's exactly the same though, so if you're using a Mac to SSH in and to install Cydia after the fact, then you can use something like CyberDuck. That's actually really the only tool that I recommend for doing this. So keep that in mind, CyberDuck. And on Windows, WinSCP, as well as the 2 files to actually install Cydia itself. Don't worry, I will include a link down below in the more info, just one link that contains all 4 of these downloads, as well as CyberDuck for the Mac if you decide to install Cydia on your Mac. Now, with that said, there's also something extremely important that I must highlight before we get into jailbreaking, and that's the way you updated to the current firmware that you're on. So if you updated inside of the Settings app, meaning you went inside of Settings, General, Software Update, and you updated to the firmware that your device is currently on via the software update or over-the-air update option that Apple has built into iOS, you will need to restore your device. And I actually recommend restoring regardless. So let me walk you through the steps that I recommend, and the only steps that I certify and can guarantee that you will successfully jailbreak and install Cydia 100% correctly without encountering any issues. So let me run you through this really quick. Plug your device into your computer via a standard USB cable, and then open iTunes, create a backup, restore to iOS 8.1, the latest public firmware, and then jailbreak. Once you're jailbroken, install Cydia, and then once you have Cydia installed and everything's working and functioning properly, you can go back to iTunes and restore from the backup that you created. That way it will ensure that you don't encounter any sort of complications and that you retain all of your data. Again, that's the only method that I recommend following. And when you go to set your device up after restoring inside of iTunes before jailbreaking, just go through the brief on-screen and on-device setup process, just connect to your Wi-Fi network, and that's pretty much it. From there, skip everything else in the setup process. Again, you can restore from your backup that you created prior to restoring to get everything back and to get your settings the way they were previously. So just quickly set it up, and then from there you can continue. If for whatever reason you have a passcode set on your device, you're going to need to open up settings, go to passcode, and disable it. As you can see inside of settings, it does say to turn on passcode because I have it off. So leave passcode off. You're also going to need to sign out of the Find My iPhone feature or Find My iDevice feature. So if you logged into iCloud and you set it up, just go to settings, iCloud, and because I'm not logged in, it doesn't appear, but kind of toward the bottom, you'll have a Find My Device section. Turn that off because you will encounter issues when jailbreaking. From there, you can turn Find My iPhone on after everything's done and set up properly. However, you cannot, and I repeat, cannot set up a passcode until the creators of Pangu and Sark, the creator of Cydia, update everything to actually fully function with a passcode, because right now there is some complication with that. Apple's changed some things in their latest iOS 8 update, and it no longer functions the way it previously did. So some things in the file system are slightly different, which causes the incompatibility with the passcode. So if it's a deal breaker for you and you have something like an iPhone 6, iPhone 6 Plus, iPhone 5S, iPad Air 2, or iPad Mini 3 that has Touch ID, and you absolutely must have a passcode, then I recommend waiting until an update is available. I will let you guys know as soon as that happens and as soon as a new utility is released. So if you aren't already subscribed, just be sure to click that subscribe button down below next to my channel name if you're on the main page for this video. So you cannot have a passcode set at all prior to jailbreaking or once you're jailbroken until a new update is issued. Also keep in mind that if you jailbreak now, you will be able to take advantage of future updates that rectify the complication. If for whatever unfortunate reason you had a passcode set and you rebooted and you're now stuck in a boot loop, unfortunately you will have to restore by entering recovery mode. So just hold down the home and power buttons together while connected to your computer until you see the iTunes logo on your device's screen. From there, you will have to restore to iOS 8.1, jailbreak and install Cydia using this guide, and then restore from your backup inside of iTunes, similar to the process that you would follow to ensure that you don't encounter any sort of complications, and also to rectify potential issues if you updated to iOS 8.1 through Apple's over-the-air update option. You will have to restore if you're stuck in a boot loop. So with that out of the way, if you've kept everything I've said up until this point in mind, you will be able to jailbreak successfully and you won't run into any problems. Now let's go ahead and connect our device to our computer via our USB cable. So I'm just going to do that now, and then open up iTunes. This is actually important. You need to open up iTunes first, and you need to trust iTunes on your device. As you can see, I have a prompt here to trust the computer. This is why Pangu does not let you continue if you have yet to establish trust between the device and between the computer. So on the iPod Touch here, I'm going to tap on trust, and on the computer, I'm going to click continue. From there, verify that iTunes does recognize your device and it is connected. If and only if it does recognize it, you can continue, because otherwise Pangu will not recognize it if iTunes doesn't. So I'm going to wait for iTunes to recognize it. As you can see, it says that the iPod Touch is connected. I do have a new iPod Touch screen here that's saying welcome to your new iPod, because again, I don't have anything on it because it is freshly restored following the method that I outlined previously. So now we can go ahead and close out of iTunes, and I'm going to open up Pangu, which by the way can be downloaded from the post post that I have linked to down below. You can find download links there. And I'm going to click on run. So obviously we need to run Pangu in order for this to work. I'm going to refocus here really quick. All right, now we're good to go. As you can see, we do have a checkbox down here at the bottom that's checked by default. We need to go ahead and uncheck this. This just installs a third-party Chinese distribution platform. We don't want it checked. So uncheck the little box that has question marks and PP by it. Once that's unchecked, we can continue. I also just wanted to point out really quick that up above at the top here, it does confirm that this is a 5th generation iPod Touch running iOS 8.1 that's connected. From here, you're going to need to enter airplane mode on your device. This is absolutely crucial as it will ensure that you can jailbreak successfully, and it will make the process go so much faster than if you don't enter airplane mode. So enter airplane mode right now. And again, keep in mind, you cannot have a passcode set and you cannot have Find My iPhone or Find My iDevice active. And now that all of that's out of the way, let's go ahead and continue. I'm going to click the blue button down here at the bottom, and it's just going to go through the process. I'm going to leave the device up on the display throughout the duration so you guys can see approximately how long this should take. It may vary for you, but remember, enter airplane mode. That is very important. Also, it should get stuck at this step right here. If it doesn't for you, then it will just continue and that's fine. But if it does, like it is for me in this case, you're going to swipe over and tap on the Pangu new icon. As you can see, I have an all new icon on my springboard here on the second page called Pangu New. We're going to tap that and then trust the developer, and from there it will close out of the app and it will continue. So let's go ahead and wait for that. Again, don't interface with your device other than to open the Pangu New app. From there, just leave it connected to your computer and don't interact with it at all. So don't touch the power, home, volume buttons, and definitely don't unplug it. Just leave it connected to your computer and let it do its thing. Again, I'm going to leave it up on the screen here so you can see approximately how long it should take. And now we do have the Apple logo. Let's go ahead and wait for it to reboot. All right, and it should connect soon. I did hear a sound in Windows. Let's go ahead and wait for it. And iTunes is actually up now. You can close out of it, however, because we are pretty much done with the jailbreak process. Let's wait for the iPod to come back up though. All right, and here we are. I'm going to slide to unlock and swipe over to the second page. As you can see, I now have a Pangu app on my springboard, and this is actually what you get when you jailbreak, because when Pangu released their Untethered Jailbreak utility, Sark didn't have Cydia updated, so that's why we have to install it manually. It's so simple though. Don't worry guys, it's not worth waiting to jailbreak, again, unless you must have a passcode set, because as of now you can't have one set because it will cause an infinite boot loop. So keep that in mind. But now let's go ahead and install Cydia. Like I said, it's very simple. First, what you're going to have to do immediately after jailbreaking is open the Pangu app. So I'm going to open into it here, and we're going to install OpenSSH. It should be on the main page here at the top. As you can see, we have OpenSSH. So just tap into it and then tap install in the top right and wait for it to complete. Once you have OpenSSH installed, it will allow you to SSH the files that you downloaded previously into your device and in turn install Cydia. So I'm going to tap OK to this, and I'm going to set the iPod Touch down now. You can also exit out of the Pangu app on both your device and your computer. Now, like I said previously, you're going to need these two files downloaded on your computer. If you have yet to do so, take the time now to download them on my site. Again, I will have a post linked to down below in the more info that contains everything you need for this tutorial. So scrolling down here, I'm going to click on these required files, and as you can see, just click to download, and then you're going to click on open, and I'm going to show you guys how to do this again on Windows. So with that in mind, if you're on Windows, you're going to just click on the folder after downloading that says Cydia installer and grab the files from here. Don't worry about the one that's _Mac OS X. That doesn't matter. You just need to click into the Cydia installer file and then take the deb files from here and drag them to your desktop. I already have mine, so I'm not going to do that, but just drag them to your desktop. And if you're on a Mac and you're SSHing into your iDevice, then you don't need to worry about that. Just open up the folder and drag the files to your desktop. There will only be one set. All right, and with that said, on your device, actually go inside of the settings app, go to Wi-Fi, find the Wi-Fi network that you're connected to, tap the I that should be to the right of it, it's a blue I, and look for the IP address field and then take note of that. That's the Wi-Fi IP address that your router has currently assigned to your device. Also, you will need to be connected to the same network on your computer as well as on your device so you can actually SSH into it properly. And with that said, once you have the IP address of your device, go ahead and open up your SSH client, again WinSCP on Windows and CyberDuck on Mac. Once you have opened it up, you're going to establish a new connection. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you guys can get a better view. Now, inside of CyberDuck, you're going to need to select SSH or SFTP. Inside of WinSCP, it automatically selects it by default, so you're good to go for the file protocol. And then from there, for the host name, input your Wi-Fi IP address of your device. So in this case, it's 10.0.1.38 for my iPod Touch. For the port number, if it's not at 22, set it to 22. But if you previously selected SFTP as your file transfer protocol, then you will be good to go on the port number. Just leave it at default. For the username, it's root, ROOT, and the password is Alpine, A-L-P-I-N-E, all lowercase, and then you're going to go ahead and click login. Now, if it's the first time connecting to your device on your computer, you may very well get along. Now, if it's your first time connecting to SSH on your device, you will have to allow for it. Sometimes WinSCP will bring up a timeout warning. Just go ahead and wait for a prompt. And in my case, I'm getting a warning potential security breach error because I actually restored my device, so it's the same device, but because it was restored and because I had to reinstall OpenSSH on it, which you guys just saw, it's saying that it needs to update the fingerprint of my device. So I'm just going to go ahead and click update. For you guys, it'll just be allow though. And now that we're here, let's go ahead and SSH those files into the device. As you can see, the current directory is /private/var/root. If you used WinSCP or CyberDuck, it will automatically place you there by default, so don't worry about that. If for whatever reason it doesn't, or you're using some other SSH tool, then you'll need to navigate to that directory manually. Now I'm going to go ahead and drag these files in. Let's go ahead and put them over here so you guys can see this process, and I'm going to simply drag them inside here. And now that they're sent successfully, if you're on Windows, you're going to press Control-T on your keyboard. If you're on Mac and you're using CyberDuck, you're going to click on Go in the top menu bar and then Send Command. Now I'm going to copy this command and we're going to send it to the device. So as I said previously, it is on Best Tech Info on the post that I have listed down below. So let's go ahead and copy this command here. This is the one that we need. It is universal for both Windows and Mac, so keep that in mind. It's the same exact command and this process is identical. So because we are on Windows, we're gonna hold down Control-T on our keyboard and we're going to click on OK because we wanna open a separate shell connection here. If you're on Mac, remember, click Go and then Send Command. If for whatever reason you're not able to or you're at all confused, I will have an annotation on the screen now to my previous Install Cydia tutorial that does demonstrate how to install it on a Mac. Now let's go ahead and paste that command in here, and we're going to go ahead and click execute or whatever option you receive inside of your SSH tool to actually send the command to your device. Now I'm going to go ahead and execute this command here. However, keep in mind that you will encounter an issue in the log. That's completely fine, that's normal, that's to be expected, and you actually want that error. So I'm going to go ahead and click execute, and here's the iPod Touch. It's sending the files over. As you can see at the top here, I do have a serious warning. It says the file list file for package, quote, io.pangu.loader is missing. That's completely fine and you're good to go. If you're on Windows with WinSCP, you will receive that error at the top. If you're using CyberDuck, you'll get it at the bottom. Either way, your device is fine and Cydia has been installed successfully. You will now need to reboot, however, and I'm actually going to wait a little bit. So go ahead and give it about a minute or two. Just leave your device unlocked and then you're going to reboot from there. So let's just go ahead and wait. So let's go ahead and close out of this console window and close out of WinSCP altogether now. And we're actually going to wait for a little bit just to ensure that everything's fine and that it will process successfully. So again, wait about a minute or two and close out of your SSH program and also the window that you sent the command through. So just give it a second or two and then you're going to reboot. So bringing over my iPod Touch here, hold down the power button and wait for the slide to power off interface to appear and then slide to power off. You're going to need to reboot manually. Don't do it through the program that you're using to SSH. This will ensure that it works properly after waiting a minute or two. So just wait for it to power off and wait for it to completely power down. So I'm going to wait a second or two before turning it on. Alright, so now at this point I can power it on just by holding down the power button and you should see an Apple logo. Once you see that, just release it and wait for it to boot back up. This should just take the normal amount of time it takes for your device to reboot, but I will leave it on the screen so you guys can see approximately how long it should take. But again, it will vary depending on your device. All right, and I actually heard a connecting sound inside of Windows, so let's go ahead and wait. It should be back up shortly. All right, and it has recognized it inside of iTunes. We should be at the lock screen soon. Okay, as you can see, here we are. I'm going to slide to unlock now and scroll over. And as you can see, we do have Cydia. If you followed these steps correctly, you will indeed have Cydia. So let's go ahead and tap into it and it will prepare the file system and this will take some time. It will instantly respring once it finishes though. I'm going to close out of iTunes and let's just wait for it. Again, I'm also going to leave it up now so you guys can see how long it should take, but it will vary for you. All right, and there we go. It did respring. We have the Apple logo, and we will be at the lock screen shortly. It doesn't take the same amount of time it takes to normally reboot, so let's just wait for it to finish the respring. And as you can see, here we are at the lock screen. Let's go ahead and slide to unlock and scroll over. And now I'm actually going to install Substrate. So open up Cydia once you've already finished preparing the file system and once it does respring, and you're going to search for Substrate. And now getting a close up, you're going to go to the search tab at the bottom and type in Substrate, S-U-B-S-T-R-A-T-E, and then hit search. And you're going to need to install Cydia Substrate. This is crucial and this is required for all Cydia tweaks to work. So go into Cydia Substrate and then tap on Install, Confirm, and it will install Cydia Substrate. Now you may have noticed that I did have a little 1 by the updates. That was actually the new Pangu version. It is being delivered through Cydia. However, you can also install it through the Pangu app. I'm not going to restart the Springboard right now, however. I'm actually going to go inside of the Pangu app, and if you've already jailbroken on iOS 8.1, then this is how you'll install the update, or you can find it through Cydia. But just open the Pangu app and then go down below at the bottom to Manager, and you will notice that you do have a new package update here. This is the Pangu 8.0 through 8.1.x Untethered update. It's version 0.2. So just go ahead and tap that little up arrow and then tap yes to confirm the update. And then from there it will download and install it, and then you can reboot it. So just tap the button to reboot. It will be identical through Cydia as well. It's the same process if you update via Cydia. And what this will allow your device to do is actually use Substrate without having to respring after rebooting. So that's also why I wanted to do that now, just to show you guys. Let's go ahead and unplug it now at this point. It doesn't need to be plugged in. It actually hasn't needed to be for a while, but it's always safe to err on the side of caution and to just leave it plugged in just in case. So let's go ahead and wait for it to reboot, and I will be able to use Cydia without having to respring because of the new Pangu Untether package. So let's go ahead and wait for it to power up here, and once it does, I will slide to unlock and show you guys that Cydia does function as expected. All right, and after what appeared to be a couple of reboots there, we are back up. I'm going to slide to unlock, scroll over, and as you can see, Cydia does open and does function properly. Also, if you do install tweaks after the fact with Cydia Substrate, again, you can use them without having to respring and without having to send an SSH command to your device. And also, you will notice that when I go down below to the bottom to changes, I don't have any pending updates. That is because we did install it through the Pangu app. You can do it that way, or again through Cydia. Either way is fine. I'm also going to go inside of Cydia really quick and show you guys that Cydia does indeed confirm that this is a 5th generation iPod Touch running iOS 8.1. So let's go ahead and go down to the Cydia tab and refocus. Now, as you can see down below at the bottom, Cydia does confirm that this is an iPod 5.1 or a 5th generation iPod Touch running iOS 8.1 with Cydia 1.1.13. So you do know that this is a 5th generation iPod Touch, jailbroken successfully, completely untethered on iOS 8.1. It was an incredibly simple process, provided that you guys have followed this tutorial successfully. All right, and that's it for this video and this tutorial. I will keep you guys updated when Pangu does release an all new version of their tool and when the passcode lock complication has been solved. And once you can set a passcode, I'll let you guys know. Until then, however, definitely do not set one, because if you reboot, you will get stuck in that boot loop. So to be notified, just be sure to hit that subscribe button down below next to my channel name if you're on the main page for this video. And also, if you guys liked it and it helped you jailbreak, just be sure to rate it up and share it around, as well as leave a relevant comment down below in the comments section. Once your comment's been posted, if you're interested in earning paid apps, gift cards, and electronic devices, just be sure to visit bit.ly/getfreeapplife or freeapplife.com inside of mobile Safari. And if you're on iOS 8, after tapping download, press the home button, open the app, and download the temporary secure profile, which is strictly used for associating your device with its proper account in a more secure manner on the latest firmware. It's never even installed on your devices. It's immediately deleted once your account has either been created or reassociated. From there, simply download sponsored apps for points and use said points for the aforementioned prizes. All right, and that pretty much wraps up this video, guys. Again, like I said before, I hope you liked it and I hope it helped you. Stay tuned for updated tutorials on the all-new Pangu for iOS 8 utility to, again, jailbreak iOS 8.0 through 8.1. And if you guys want to be updated more often, such as when I release new videos, whether they're related to jailbreaking or forthcoming Apple products, such as the Apple Watch, just be sure to like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter. And until next time, this is ICU, signing out.